Hi, my name is Jamie, and welcome back to J-Bug Jamie. Today we are talking about OWN Network new series GreenLeaf, Meaningful Survival. If you watched last night, I know you're excited about this review, so I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Meaningful Survival starts off with Grace checking on her daughter Sophia, and she's checking her Facebook and just looking into what Sophia is into, and she happens to find out that Sophia has a CD case, and she puts the earphones on and listens to the CD, and it's actually her baby sister Faith, and she's like, Sophia, where'd you get this CD? Come on. And then we see her call out to Sophia, and Sophia's telling her mom, if I would have told you about this, you would have been paranoid. I don't know if those were Sophia's exact words, but something to the extent of you would have overreacted. So we cut to Bishop GreenLeaf and First Lady May. They're in their bedroom and they're, doing what couples do, husband and wife. And Bishop GreenLeaf mentions the new jet that he wants to get, and when it's gonna be coming and all those things. And it kind of perks First Lady May's interest. She's like, the jet. Then we cut to Charity and Kevin, and they're at the doctor having an ultrasound for the new baby, and they find out some great news, which I always love when you hear this type of news. They find out that they're having twins, and that's so exciting for them. Moving on to Carissa and Jacob, my favorite Greenleaf couple. I love them, even though they're having problems. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for, by the end of the series, we'll understand them more, and they'll come together. Hopefully, I just love Carissa and Jacob's characters. I don't know why, but I love them. So Carissa and Jacob, they're having therapy, and Jacob wants to go to Vegas, but Carissa has doubts about it because she knows that Jacob has been having an affair with Bishop GreenLeaf's secretary. So she's like, I don't want to send you to Vegas and you're out there free for all, just coming back bringing all kind of diseases. That's not what she said, but in my mind, that's what Carissa's thinking. So they kind of come to a compromise with the therapist, and Carissa says, if you let go of your mistress, then you can go to Vegas. And Jacob's like, okay, I'll let her go. Little do we know. So Grace is visiting a sick kid in the hospital, and she meets with his parents, and the parents are very, just anxious and distraught. I wouldn't say distraught, but anxious about what's going on with his sickness. They know what he's sick with, but they've been going through this a long time. They love him. They don't want to see anything bad happen to him. And Grace talks to the mother and talks to the father, and she kind of figures out that the mother is more spiritual as far as her belief system than the father. He may have belief system, but he kind of has doubts, and he doesn't want to hear about God and his saving grace and all that. The lady's husband, who's of the sick kid, gets very upset with Grace when she starts talking about God and faith, but she doesn't do it like her dad does it. But he just seeing a minister makes him feel like, oh my God, here they come with the faith stuff. That's the reaction that the father gives off towards Grace being there. Okay, so Bishop GreenLeaf meets up with the jet people, and they talk about him possibly getting a new jet for the church, and they kind of mention how one pastor defaulted on his payments and this jet is available. I really don't feel like Bishop GreenLeaf needs a jet. How come he can't fly first class or economy class like everybody else? I know you're a bishop, but come on, that money could be used for greater purposes. That's my opinion. I don't judge here. This is a no judge zone. So after meeting about the jet, they move on to Carissa, and she meets with the teachers of the school where she's the principal, and they talk about the test scores and why are the kids scoring so low. There's a certain standard that she has, and the kids need to meet this standard as far as, I believe, the school maybe keeping its accreditation or staying on top. So she's very adamant about the kids scoring at a certain level or above. And the teacher, which is Noah's girlfriend, she says, test scores are biased, and I don't feel like putting my children through all this anxiety for testing, you know, I don't believe in all this. And she's like, it's not about what you believe in. These are the test scores, and they have to be above grade. And we get to see that develop later on in the episode. So, oh, did you see where Carissa had a moment with Noah's girlfriend? They shared like a moment where she has these moments where Carissa lets down her guard just a little bit. Not much. She'll let it down slightly to kind of let you in, but then other than that, she closes up. Grace sits down with the father of the sick child, which is Joseph. Here in my notes I have it. The father of the sick child. They talk about his disease, that it's terminal, and he's upset because Bishop GreenLeaf shared with them that they should just have faith because it's Joshua and he'll be all right. They kind of allude to the fact that they would have wanted to terminate the pregnancy, but the bishop felt like, you know, this could be healed by God, so keep Joseph alive. I hope I'm saying his name. Keep Joshua alive, and that let God do his work. Then we move on to Bishop, because the bishop said the baby would be fine. His name is Joshua, so he'll be all right. Lady May visits Connie, the deacon, the infamous deacon or deaconess from last week's episode, who walked out of the church during the Black Lives Matter type of situation going on with the cops and everything. I want to send out prayers to all the families who are going through anything of stress with everything that's going on in our society today. So I send out a prayer to you all. I just want to take a moment to do that. Mentioning all this that's going on in the world. And everybody just love on one another. Be kind to one another. It's hard, but just try to find the beauty in others, and even if they're being nasty, just try to find the beauty there. There could be a hurt there, a reason to why they're acting that way. I feel like Lady May, she thinks ahead of other characters on the show. She's always thinking ahead of the fray. So she uses things to her advantage in that way because she's thinking about the outcome of certain situations, and she tries to steer like a puzzle, put pieces together and keep ships afloat. So when the bishop shared with her about the new plane purchase, she already had in her mind that Deaconess Connie wouldn't agree with that. So she kind of went to Connie knowing all this stuff. I have a point here. It's going to lead to another deacon that she meets with. But when she went to Connie, it was deeper than just having Connie back. It was more like a saving of the church, and knowing that maybe getting a new plane might cause a little controversy. So she sits down with Connie, and they talk about how the bishop is never going to come and apologize. That's not in his spirit to kind of come back and say, I was wrong. He kind of waits for you to come. And so Lady May puts in her head, okay, I know what I have to do. And she leaves there. She plots like, I am going to get Connie back at this church. Carissa talks with Zora. And I want to shout out to Poetic Justice. Thank you for telling me the names of the daughters, Zora and Sophia. I got it now. So shout out to you. Thank you. So we see Carissa and Zora, and they talk about the test scores. And Zora has a little moment where she says she cheated on the test. I'm inclined to believe that maybe she cheated because her scores did go a little higher. I hope not, but just she was joking, but sometimes jokes are serious. They have a family dinner, and in that dinner, Charity and Kevin are excited to announce the news of their twins, but Carissa, she gets a text from Jacob's phone or her phone, and it shows that Jacob was planning on being with his mistress. Carissa slams the phone down on the table. She's like, you liar, you didn't mean it when you said you were gonna stop seeing your lover. And just she has a moment. Good acting, Carissa. I love that. Very powerful. Okay, so Lady May meets with the deacon that went on the double date with Carissa and Jacob, and she's a little bit flirty. Is it me, or did you guys notice that too? Lady May was a little bit flirty, but she meets with the deacon, and she lets it slip on purpose that the bishop is planning on buying the jet. And she does that because she knows that Bishop doesn't like to be challenged, and that deacon is going to go back and tell the other deacons who are going to stop this purchase from happening. So she kind of sets this plan in motion. She's very, I told you, she knows how to put these puzzles and pieces together. So that was smart of her. She knew what it would take to get Connie back, and she used that deacon to do it. Bishop sits down with Jacob, and he lets Jacob know, I'm sitting you down because you're not ready to be a preacher. And basically, you're not ready because you're not living the life that you're preaching about. And plus, when you preach, it's more about you and not about the word of God. You're more bragging about who you were back in the day, your skills and all that. It's not about the word of God. So I did like the fact that he set Jacob down, but I feel like he should have set him down for longer than 90 days. Jacob needs to sit down till he gets his whole situation together because it's out of order. We move on to Grace and Bishop GreenLeaf, the scene at the hospital where Grace kind of tells her dad what not to say when they go in there to meet with the family. Don't say this. And, you know, I didn't like that part, because if Bishop GreenLeaf is really hearing a word from God, don't stop that process. If he needs to say something that God may want him to tell the family, it's not up to you to stop him from doing that. So sometimes you can stop people from doing what they're meant to do just by your words. So, because Grace has this, she believes in God, I believe, but she has this shaky kind of, her faith is whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. So just, you know, you can't, I already talked about this in episode 1 on my opinion about just flowing to and fro. She stops her dad from saying anything about God and how he'll work it out. He's like, don't tell me how I should pray to my God. I know what, I get the spirit. He tells me what to say. But he does listen to his daughter in a way. I think he takes heed to her advice. So they leave there, they go to the car, and they discuss the visit and everything. But then they start to talk about her Uncle Mac and how the dad never went to the police. He didn't believe Faith when she said that the uncle was molesting her. So Bishop meets with Connie, he apologizes, and they agree for Bishop to put a plaque in honor of, I'm guessing, her son in one of the pews, and they kind of make up, and I'm happy about that. Grace tells her father that she's going to start a self-help group for the victims of sexual abuse, and I love that. To close it out, as she's telling her father that she's going to start this sexual abuse help group, she gets this box, and the dad gives it to her, and it's a box with the toy from the little boy Joshua, his toy. So I'm guessing that he has made his transition, and it's just very sad and touching moment. But the toy was a great part in that closing scene. I really enjoyed that. Carissa, great acting. You did a phenomenal job tonight when you just made your point about the affair. That's it, no more of that. And then you kind of showed a softer side. Also, I love the fact that GreenLeaf is introducing new actors, new actresses, people that we've never seen who are actually bringing it. Connie, you brought it this episode. The Deacon, I loved her. I want to see more of Connie. She was great. Just ability, just great actors. You didn't feel like you were watching an amateur. So I haven't seen you in anything, so I'm assuming that you're new. You did a great job. I also enjoyed Bishop GreenLeaf. I think, as I said last week, he's a phenomenal actor. And Lady May, the two of those people are veterans, and they show why they're still standing. They're great at what they do. So overall, those are my two. Connie and Grace GreenLeaf, again, really were great. Oh, and I really did like Noah's girlfriend. I will know her name next week. I loved her. She showed a lot of depth in the scene where she's talking to Carissa, and also about the test score. She showed a little bit. She's a new and up-and-comer, so you did a great job. And I want to thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week for another great review of GreenLeaf, episode 6. So stay tuned for the next review. Thank you so much. Bye.